Are you addicted to comfort? Or are you committed to becoming someone unbreakable? Because here's the truth most people refuse to hear. If your life feels peaceful only when nothing challenges you, that's not peace. That's avoidance. That's sedation. That's you hiding from the pressure that would have forged you into something dangerous. In the best way, real peace doesn't come from rest. Real peace comes from struggle, from doing something difficult and realizing you didn't die, from facing the hard thing and discovering, I can handle more than I thought. That's the kind of peace you can't fake. That's the kind of peace nobody can steal. But people are terrified of that. They're terrified of confrontation, terrified of discomfort, terrified of the moment where the excuse gets ripped away and it's just them alone with a choice, evolve or stay small. And that's why most people live their entire lives trying to stay safe. They want comfort, certainty, soft routines, soft minds, soft standards. They run from anything that tests them. They run from anything that exposes them. But the test is the point. You cannot build great character in an easy life. You can't. You can inherit money, inherit status, inherit shortcuts, and still be mentally tortured because nothing was earned, nothing was forged, no inner proof was built. And deep down, you know it because you don't respect what you didn't fight for. That's why having stuff doesn't save people. Getting stuff is exciting for a moment, but the pursuit, the grind, the discipline, the growth, that's where real satisfaction lives. Not in the destination, not even just the journey, in who you become while you're bleeding through the journey. And here's the brutal trade nobody wants to accept. You can either grow or you can be comfortable. You can't do both. Stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you want to evolve while you protect the exact habits that keep you weak. Stop saying you want greatness while you keep negotiating with your standards like your future is a joke. Life is not designed to stay the same. Everything in this universe evolves. Everything, which means discomfort isn't a glitch. It's built into the game. Uncertainty isn't a punishment. It's the doorway. The shaking, the pressure, the fear, that's not bad luck. That's growth calling you. So if you're uncomfortable right now, good. It means you're at the edge of your old self. And listen, this part matters. Failure isn't real the way you think it is. You woke up today. That means your arms work, your legs work, your lungs are pulling air, your brain is processing this. You're alive, you're mobile, you still have time. So what are you calling failure? You tried one route. It didn't work. So you try another route, and another, and another. You take 150,000 routes if you have to, because as long as you can wake up and try again, you haven't lost. Defeat is psychological. It's a story you tell yourself to justify quitting. And quitting is the only true loss. So stop calling it defeat. Stop calling it failure. Call it feedback. Call it data. Call it reps. Because you're still in the arena. And the people who win aren't the ones who never get hit. They're the ones who keep showing up after they get hit. The ones who keep moving when their feelings beg them to stop. The ones who don't need motivation because they have discipline. And you won't always feel motivated. So if your entire plan depends on motivation, you're finished. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is identity. Discipline is you showing up even when you're tired, even when you're annoyed, even when you're doubting yourself, even when you're scared, especially when you're scared, because that's the exact moment your brain tries to protect you with fear. It shows you every negative outcome 10 miles down the road. It builds disasters in your mind like they're guaranteed. But that fear is not prophecy. It's not truth. It's just the mind trying to keep you familiar, trying to keep you small enough to stay safe. And safe people don't build legendary lives. You want to know what separates the great ones from everybody else? They strip away the noise. They stop wasting energy trying to impress strangers. They stop living for approval. They stop obsessing over what people think. They stop trying to look perfect. They take their resources, mental focus, physical energy, time, willpower, and they concentrate on a few things that actually matter. And then they become monsters at those things. Because focus is power. And power scares average people. So average people will judge you. They'll call you obsessive. They'll call you extreme. They'll call you too much. Let them. Most of your self-doubt is just a spotlight effect. You think everyone is watching you, but they're not. They're watching themselves. They're worried about their own insecurities, their own problems, their own survival. Nobody cares as much as you think. And that should be freeing. Because if nobody is truly watching, then you have no one to impress, no audience to perform for, no permission to wait for. The only person you're competing with is you. And that's where your real war begins. So here's the question that decides your future. When nobody is watching, what do you do? Do you keep your word? Or do you betray yourself again? Because if you can't trust you, you will never feel peace. Ever. Peace comes when you become reliable to yourself. Peace comes when you stop abandoning your own standards. Peace comes when you do the hard thing and prove, I'm not weak, I'm just untrained. And training starts now. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to build that winner feeling on command by creating finish lines, stacking wins, and turning pain into fuel. So you stop needing motivation and you become someone who cannot quit. So let me ask you something that might sting a little. How many times have you promised yourself you'd change and then you didn't? How many Mondays did you waste? How many new eras lasted 2 days? How many times did you swear this time is different? Then went right back to the same habits that keep you average. Because if you keep breaking promises to yourself, you don't just lose progress, you lose self-trust. And without self-trust, you will never feel stable, never feel confident, never feel calm. You'll always feel like you're one bad day away from collapsing, because deep down, you know you can't rely on you. That's why real peace comes from struggle. Not because struggle is fun, because struggle forces you to build the one thing most people avoid. Proof. Proof that you can endure discomfort. Proof that you can keep moving while you hate it. Proof that you don't need the perfect mood to do the work. And here's what most people get wrong. They think winners feel like winners first, and then they act like it. No, winners act like winners, and then they start to feel like it. You want that winning feeling? Stop waiting for inspiration and start creating finish lines. Successful people aren't magically more motivated. They're just smarter about the psychology of momentum. They set up finish lines they can cross today, not in 5 years, not in some perfect future. Today, because every finished task is a win. Every completed rep is a win. Every day you kept your word is a win. And win stack. That's how you build the identity. I'm the kind of person who finishes, not the kind of person who starts strong and disappears. So here's what I want you to do. Stop thinking in massive, dramatic transformations. Start thinking in daily domination. You don't need to conquer your entire life today. You need to conquer one decision. One hard decision that your lazy self keeps negotiating. Because every time you hesitate, you're training yourself to be weak. Hesitancy is a habit, and it's deadly. You keep telling yourself, I need to know more. I need a better plan. I need the perfect routine. I need the right time. No, that's not preparation. That's fear wearing a suit and pretending it's being responsible. Most people are addicted to getting ready because it feels productive without risking failure. They download the apps. They make the lists. They plan the week. And then they do nothing. They confuse organization with execution. So hear me clearly. The ultimate productivity hack is not an app. It's a word. No. No to distractions. No to cheap dopamine. No to people who drain you. No to habits that make you weak. No to the version of you that wants comfort more than victory. Because comfort is a silent killer. Comfort doesn't stab you. It sedates you. It makes you forget you're wasting your potential until years pass and you can't recognize yourself anymore. So if you want change, you need one thing above everything. Chosen suffering. Unchosen suffering will come no matter what. Loss, rejection, sickness, betrayal, setbacks. You don't get to vote on that. But chosen suffering? That's your armor. Cold showers, early mornings, hard workouts, difficult conversations, building the skill, writing the book, posting the content, doing the reps when no one claps. You choose hard on purpose. So life can't break you when hard shows up uninvited. And that's why discipline is more powerful than motivation. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation says, I feel like it. Discipline says, I'm doing it anyway. And the truth is, you can do way more than you think. Society has gotten soft. People avoid sitting with discomfort. They numb everything. Scrolling, drinking, gossip, shallow relationships, endless entertainment. Anything to avoid hearing their own thoughts. But the voice of your spirit is quiet. You can't hear it in noise. If you never sit still, you'll never know what you're actually meant to do. And if you don't know what you're meant to do, you'll keep tripping over the same patterns, same mistakes, same pain, different year. So here's the challenge. Be alone long enough to meet yourself. Not lonely, alone. There's a difference. Loneliness is dependence with nobody to feed it. Solitude is power, because it forces you to face what's real. And yes, it'll hurt, because you'll see the gap between who you are and who you could be. But that pain is useful. That pain is information. That pain is the alarm clock you've been snoozing for years. So when discomfort hits, don't run. When the pressure hits, don't numb. When the voice in your head says quit, don't negotiate. Talk back. Say, I'm alive. That means I'm still in this. I haven't lost. Then do one thing that proves it. One rep, one page, one email, one workout, one application, one uncomfortable conversation, one step. Because that's how confidence is built, not by feeling confident, but by being willing to try. Confidence is not a mood. It's a track record, and you build that track record by keeping promises, especially on the days you don't feel like it. In the final part, I'm going to give you the mental switch that turns pain into fuel, how to stop letting your past hijack your future, and how to become the kind of person who can't be ignored, because you stop abandoning yourself. Let's end this the only way it should end. No comfort, no soft landing, no lies. Here's the truth most people never hear. Your life doesn't change because you understand more. It changes when you're finally sick of yourself. Not motivated, not inspired. Disgusted. Disgusted with excuses. Disgusted with the delays. Disgusted with a version of you that keeps saying one day while time keeps stealing years. That moment, right there, is where real transformation begins. Because until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of change, you will not move. You'll talk. You'll plan. You'll fantasize. But you won't act. And here's the part nobody wants to accept. Your comfort zone is not protecting you. It is slowly killing who you could have been. Every day you choose comfort, you're making a trade. You're trading potential for predictability, growth for safety, respect for approval. And the price gets higher the longer you wait. You don't wake up one day and suddenly lose your dreams. You bleed them out slowly, through procrastination, distraction, and pretending you have time. Let me be brutally clear. You do not have time. Not to waste. Not to drift. Not to keep living like you'll get serious later. Later is a lie people tell themselves, so they don't have to face who they are right now. And right now, your life is speaking. If your life couldn't say a single word, what would it say about you? Would it say discipline, urgency, courage? Or would it say comfort, avoidance, and wasted ability? Because results don't lie. Energy doesn't lie. Patterns don't lie. You are exactly where your habits have put you, and that should either scare you or wake you up. Most people want change without loss. They want growth without sacrifice. They want the outcome without the identity shift. That's not how reality works. Your new life will cost you your old one. Old routines, old thinking, old friends, old coping mechanisms, old versions of you that felt familiar but kept you weak. You cannot become exceptional while carrying everything that made you average. So stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for validation. Stop hoping someone will save you from yourself. No one is coming. And that's not depressing, that's power. Because the moment you accept that no one is coming, you stop waiting and you start moving. This is where you become internally oriented, not controlled by opinions, not shaken by rejection, not dependent on praise. When you know who you are, noise becomes irrelevant. When you know where you're going, criticism becomes fuel. And when you stop needing approval, you become dangerous. Because here's the reality. People will doubt you. People will laugh. People will misunderstand you, not because you're wrong, but because your growth exposes their stagnation. When you change intentionally, you make people uncomfortable. When you raise your standards, you force them to confront theirs. So they'll try to pull you back, call you too serious, too intense, different, unrealistic. Good. That's the price of evolution. Oil and water don't mix, and exceptional people don't blend in. Now let's talk about the past. The thing you keep dragging behind you like a chain. Your past is not a prison. It's raw material. Every mistake, every failure, every bad chapter. It's either an excuse or a weapon. Most people use their past to justify weakness. The strong use it to build armor. You don't heal by pretending it didn't happen. You heal by extracting the lesson and refusing to repeat the pattern. Balanced regret builds character. Unbalanced guilt destroys it. So stop letting who you were sabotage who you're becoming. You are not your worst moment. You are not your past decisions. You are not the story you keep replaying. You are the one holding the pen right now. And if you don't like the direction of your life, There is only one solution. Do different. Not tomorrow, not next month. Now, different habits, different standards, different energy, because energy always returns. If you wake up negative, complain all day, and numb yourself at night, don't be surprised when life gives you more to complain about. But if you master your energy, your thoughts, your words, your actions, your reality will have no choice but to change. This is intentional living, not drifting, not reacting, deciding. You either change intentionally, or life will change you through pain. And pain doesn't ask permission. So here's the final question, the one you can't escape. Are you willing to suffer on purpose? Or will you keep suffering by default? Because growth hurts, but regret lasts longer. You can stay where you are and pay with your potential. Or you can step into discomfort and pay with effort. Either way, you will pay. So choose wisely. Become someone you respect. Become someone you don't abandon. Become someone who keeps promises, especially when it's hard. Because at the end of this life, you won't regret the pain you endured. You'll regret the version of yourself you never had the courage to become. And that regret, that's the one thing discipline could have prevented. Now decide.